To manage the worldwide pandemic of a novel coronavirus, individuals everywhere throughout the world have mixed to sanction social removing in order to decrease the speed with which the infection is spreading, key to lessening the strain on medicinal services frameworks. In any case, even as various nations have met that danger with differing degrees of achievement, they have to plan for the fallout. There is a genuine chance that this flare-up isn't the last COVID-19 bend we'll have to straighten. Disease transmission expert Stephen Kissler of Harvard University and his co-authors distributed a paper in Science on April 14 that investigates potential situations. There's a decent possibility that we'll see some further influxes of contamination following this initial one, he says. Two essential factors will influence the planning and number of resurgences: how well the infection is transmitted during hotter months, and to what extent resistance endures in individuals who have recouped from the viral infection. It's far-fetched that the flare-up will simply cease to exist over the mid-year, as some have recommended, Kissler says. His group's examination shows that extreme intense respiratory condition coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, the infection-causing coronavirus malady 2019, or COVID-19, can spread whenever of year on the grounds that there are such a large number of powerless individuals. Nonetheless, if the infection turns out to be less transmissible over the mid-year months, which has been the situation for some different coronaviruses and this season's flu virus, that could help lessen the pace of contamination. For continuous or developing episodes, postponing the spread as the climate warms will be a help. To what extent invulnerability keeps going will emphatically influence when we may see a resurgence in contaminations, from months to years after the finish of the present flood. In the event that resistance is brief, just like the case for occasional influenza and colds brought about by different coronaviruses, at that point there could be another flood of SARS-CoV-2 disease in the fall. The past flu pandemic, the pig influenza H1N1 in 2009, had a second flood of contamination after a winter-spring flare-up, Kissler calls attention to. There was still transmission over the late spring, yet it was lower. At that point we saw a resurgence in the harvest time, he clarifies. With respect to COV-2, he says, we may need to do these social removing measures again in the fall as the transmissibility rises once more. In the event that insusceptibility endures years, just like the case for the SARS-CoV-1 flare-up in 2003, or if there is some cross-resistance between this novel infection and other related coronaviruses previously coursing inside everyone, at that point it could be at least 2 years before a resurgence happens. By at that point, there might be powerful medications or antibodies set up. As a rule, however, invulnerability will in general last longer when infections induce a more grounded safe reaction. Taking into account that individuals can have SARS-CoV-2 without side effects, the all-encompassing insusceptibility situation appears to be improbable. Kissler and his co-authors show that if resistance to SARS-CoV-2 isn't changeless, it will likely go into standard flow among people. That could mean individuals should manage at least one resurgences throughout the following year, or that this ailment could turn into another regular ailment like seasonal influenza and different basic colds. Disease transmission specialists, including Kissler and his group, are effectively contemplating the length of insusceptibility to and the regularity of SARS-CoV-2. The movement of COVID-19 diseases over the mid-year will uncover the infection's regularity. Disease transmission experts will require more opportunity to decide how rapidly resistance melts away. We're still a very long time to even a year from knowing without a doubt how the invulnerability is going to look, Kissler says. Meanwhile, disease transmission experts will screen viral flare-ups, to home in on outstanding chains of transmission of SARS-CoV-2. Choosing where to execute testing for contamination keeps on being a problem that is begging to be addressed. These flare-ups can spread so violently, Kissler notes. That is the reason social removing has been significant, and will keep on being so in any up-and-coming episodes. In the more extended term, we should continually acclimate to new data and plan to change our conduct forever. This infection might be with us for an exceptionally prolonged stretch of time, Kissler says, and we have to consider what we can do to structure our own lives and even our general public for the truth of this and of whatever different episodes come our way later on.